Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of NASCAR Veterans Steve Park. Steve Park began his racing career in 1986, racing in the Whelen Modified Series. He would do this part-time, with the exception of the 1989 season, where he ran full-time. He drove the number 81 for Whelen Motorsports, scoring 2 poles, and scoring a best finish of second near the end of the season. He finished 12th in final points. He made his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut at Nazareth in 1990, driving a number 84 for Bill Weeb, finishing 28th. Now, the Xfinity Series car that Park raced in 1990 was in Bill Weeb's name, but it more or less belonged to Steve Park and his father, Bob Park. They put all their money into it to try to get Steve an opportunity, in NASCAR. After a blown engine at Loudon kind of ended all of that. He was pretty much out of money and, went back to the Modified Series. Park remained on the Modified Tour full-time from 1991 through 1996, winning 16 races and finishing second in points in both 1995 and 1996. Also winning the World Series of Asphalt in both 92 and 93. In the Xfinity Series, Park made one start in 1995 in his own number 84 Chevrolet at Dover in the fall, finishing 27th. Then came the call that would change his racing career forever. A call that Park at first believed to be his friends pranking him, though it was no prank, but rather the 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Dale Earnhardt himself asking him to drive for Earnhardt's blossoming new Dale Earnhardt Incorporated race team. Late in the 1996 Xfinity Series season, Park made his first start for DEI at Charlotte in a number 31 Chevrolet, finishing 29th. Park made 3 Craftsman Truck Series starts for 3 different teams. His best finish was 4th for the number 18 Whelen Motorsports team at Loudon in the summer. He also qualified the Nemco Motorsports number 87 truck for Joe Nemechek at Watkins Glen. Now, he didn't race this truck, but he qualified in place of Joe Nemechek, sitting on the pole, believe it or not. Really impressive. Steve Park had arrived in NASCAR in 1997, running the entire Xfinity Series schedule in Dale Earnhardt Incorporated's number 3 AC Delco Chevrolet. His best start was first at California in the fall, and his best finish was first 3 times at Nashville Fairgrounds in the spring, then Michigan and Richmond in the fall. Truthfully, a very, very solid season for a rookie driver. Overall scoring 1 pole, 3 wins, 12 top 5s, and 20 top 10 finishes, finishing 3rd in final Xfinity Series point standings, winning Rookie of the Year honors. Park also made his NASCAR Cup Series debut in 1997 at Watkins Glen in the summer, in a number 14 Burger King Chevrolet, finishing 33rd, also for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. In all, he attempted 8 Cup Series races for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, only qualifying for 4 of them. His best finish was 15th at the season finale in Atlanta. Also, he made 1 start for Felix Sabates at Martinsville in the fall in a number 40 Chevrolet, finishing 41st. Park also made 1 start for DEI in the Craftsman Truck Series in a number 76 Chevy at Phoenix in the fall, finishing 25th. So, with all that success in the Xfinity Series, Earnhardt moved Park all the way up to the NASCAR Cup Series, full-time, to run for Rookie of the Year honors, behind the wheel of the number 1 Pennzoil Chevrolet. The first 2 starts of the season were results typical of that of a rookie, though the 3rd race of the season he DNQ'd at Las Vegas. While practicing for the following week's race in Atlanta, he suffered a tire failure, resulting in Park having 3 hard impacts prior to his car coming to a rest. Park suffered a broken leg a broken collarbone, a broken shoulder blade, and 2 chipped front teeth. Horrible. Surprisingly, Steve Park would only miss 15 races, returning at the 1998 Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis in the summertime, finishing 35th. Over the course of the final 15 races of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, his best finish was 11th twice, at Michigan in the summer and Dover in the fall. The 1999 NASCAR Cup Series season saw Park return to the number 1 Pennzoil Chevrolet full-time. This season, he qualified for all 34 races on the schedule and running at the finish of 30 events. His best finish was 6th at Michigan in the summer. Overall, he scored 5 top 10 finishes and finished 14th in final Cup Series point standings. The year 2000 saw Steve Park continue to improve. Behind the wheel once again of that Dale Earnhardt Incorporated number 1 Pennzoil Chevrolet full-time. His best start was first twice, at Bristol in the spring and Homestead in the fall. His best finish was first at Watkins Glen in the summer, winning both his first pole and race in the same season. Overall, he scored 2 poles, 1 win, 6 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 11th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. In the Xfinity Series, Park made 13 attempts for Marsh Racing's number 31 Whelen Chevrolet team. He qualified for 9 races, with a best finish of 6th at Richmond in the spring. Everything looked great going into the 2001 NASCAR Cup Series season, though his car owner, mentor, and friend, Dale Earnhardt, lost his life in a last-lap accident in the 2001 Daytona 500. The following week, with the sport still drying their eyes from the tears from the loss of the intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, the man Earnhardt picked to drive for his team a few seasons earlier, paid tribute to Dale the best way he knew how, by winning the Cup Series race the following week at Rockingham. Honestly, the 2001 season looked as though it was going to be even better than the season prior, though in a strange twist of fate, his season and almost his life would be over in almost an instant. While making his 7th Xfinity Series start of a partial schedule, the Park was running for Marsh Racing in the number 31 Chevrolet. During a caution period, Park's steering wheel came off, causing the car to veer hard to the left. Unfortunately, at the exact same time, the number 14 of Larry Foyt was speeding up to join the front of the pack for the restart. As was common during that time, lapped cars would join the front of the pack and restart on the bottom, and all the lead lap cars would restart on the top. Well, Foyt smashed into the driver's side of Park's number 31 at well over 100 miles per hour. Park was injured badly, suffering a brain injury and several broken ribs, also suffering double vision and slurred speech. At the time of this accident, Park was 10th in the NASCAR Cup Series point standings. In those first 24 races, he scored 0 poles, 1 win, 5 top 5s, and 12 top 10s. He would miss the final 12 races of the 2001 NASCAR Cup Series season. Still not cleared to race, Park missed the first 4 races of the 2002 NASCAR Cup Series season, ironically returning at Darlington for race 5 of the season, the same track he suffered the horrible accident that he had been recovering from in the first place. Things were different, though, and after an impact like that, how couldn't they be? He had a lot of accidents. One of the more memorable ones was on the first lap at Pocono when he and Rusty Wallace made contact, leading to Park getting turned by Dale Earnhardt Jr. The cars got knotted together, and Park's car flipped over after hitting the inside guardrail. Dale Jr. hurried out of his car and sprinted over to assist Park and to make sure that he was okay. Thankfully, both were. 2002 ended up being a very long season for Steve Park. In 32 NASCAR Cup Series starts, he only scored 2 top 10s. His best finish was 6th, coming at Talladega in the fall, finishing 33rd in final NASCAR Cup Series points. That following season, in 2003, Park began the season as the driver of the number 1 Pennzoil Chevrolet for DEI. After only 11 races, he was essentially traded to RCR Jeff Green. In those 11 races, in the number 1 Chevrolet, his best start was first at California in the spring, and his best finish was 10th at Las Vegas in the spring. Then, in his first race driving the number 30 AOL Chevrolet for RCR, he qualified on the pole for the Winston Open during All-Star Weekend at Charlotte. Unfortunately, he jumped the start of the race, so he was put to the rear of the field, and he didn't end up advancing to the All-Star event at all. In the 24 starts he made in the number 30 AOL Chevrolet for RCR, his best start was first at Daytona in the summer, and his best finish, it was 5th at Michigan in the fall. So in 24 starts, overall, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 2 top 10s, finishing 32nd in final Cup Series point standings. In the Xfinity Series, Park made 1 start for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s first Xfinity Series team, Chance 2 Motorsports, in a number 8 Chevrolet at Las Vegas in the spring, finishing 4th. After a couple of difficult seasons in the NASCAR Cup Series, Park moved to the Craftsman Truck Series for the 2004 season, taking over the seat that Brendan Gaughan had recently vacated to take an opportunity with Team Penske in the Cup Series for the 2004 season. Park's new team was Orleans Racing in their number 62 Dodge full-time. Really, he had a reasonably strong season, especially compared to his previous couple seasons in the Cup Series. His best finish was 3rd at Las Vegas in the fall. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 5 top 5s, and 10 top 10s, finishing 9th in final Craftsman Truck Series point standings. The 2005 Craftsman Truck Series season started off the right way for Steve Park. After returning to the Orleans Racing number 62 Dodge by winning the second race of the season at California. That was pretty much the lone bright spot of the season for both Park and the Orleans Racing team. Just before race 21 at Martinsville, Park and the team parted ways due to the fact that Dodge had just pulled support and money to many of the Craftsman Truck Series teams. He was able to get a ride for 2 of the remaining 5 events of the season in a number 67 Toyota for Bill Davis Racing. His best finish was 16th at Texas in the fall. Nothing really improved as far as his ride situation for the 2006 season. Harris Trucking Motorsports signed him on to drive their number 59 Fords and Dodges for 10 races, from race 3 in Atlanta through race 13 in Kansas. His best finish was 10th at Mansfield in the spring. Park did return to the Xfinity Series to make his final 6 Xfinity Series career starts. Behind the wheel of the number 31 Chevrolet for Marsh Racing. His best finish was 30th twice, at Las Vegas in the spring, then Gateway in the summer. Park did make 1 start for an ARCA East Series team by the name of NDS Motorsports at Dover, finishing 2nd. Park and the NDS Motorsports team made 1 more start the next season in 2007, again at Dover, finishing 8th, this time behind the wheel of a number 53 Ford. The 2008 season saw Steve Park back behind the wheel of a race car full-time. The same team he had made 1 start apiece for the previous 2 seasons. NDS Motorsports signed him to drive their number 35 Chevys and Dodges full-time. His best finish was 2nd at Loudon in the fall. Really having a pretty decent season, overall scoring 3 top 5s and 8 top 10s in a 13-race season, finishing 9th in final ARCA East Series points. After a pretty solid season in 2008, for 2009, Park returned to the number 35 Chevrolet full-time for NDS Motorsports in the ARCA East Series. His best start was 1st at Thompson Speedway in the summer, and his best finish was 1st at Adirondack International Speedway in the summer. Overall, in an 11-race season, he scored 1 pole, 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 7 top 10s, finishing 5th in final ARCA East Series points. Park also made his return to the Craftsman Truck Series making one start in a number 02 Chevrolet for Corey Stott Racing at Talladega in the fall, finishing 25th. Surprisingly, in 2010, Steve Park made his return to the NASCAR Cup Series, making one start in a number 36 Chevrolet for Tommy Baldwin Racing, finishing an impressive 13th at Daytona in the summer. In the Craftsman Truck Series, he made 3 starts for Eddie Sharp Racing, 2 in a number 41 Toyota and 1 in a number 46 Toyota. His best finish was 18th at Chicagoland in the summer, in the number 46 Toyota. Then in 2011, he made his final NASCAR Cup Series start of his career at Talladega in the spring, behind the wheel of a number 35 Chevrolet for Tommy Baldwin Racing, and he finished 42nd after only completing 4 laps in a start and park effort. Steve Park's final hurrah in the racing world came in 2013 when he entered a Whelen Modified exhibition race, the University of Northern Ohio Battle at the Beach. On the final lap, Park was pushed from behind by Eric Goodale and hit leader Mike Stefanik. Park ended up getting by Stefanik and winning the race. It was Park's first modified victory since 1996, and it would also be his final modified victory of his career. So, in 183 NASCAR Cup Series starts, he scored 4 poles, 2 wins, 12 top 5s, and 35 top 10s, with a best points finish of 11th in 2000. In 56 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 1 pole, 3 wins, 15 top 5s, and 29 top 10s, with a best points finish of 3rd in 1997. And in 65 Craftsman Truck Series starts, he scored 1 pole, 1 win, 8 top 5s, and 16 top 10s, with a best points finish of 9th in 2004. And finally, in 187 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour starts, he scored 23 poles, 16 wins, 56 top 5s, and 86 top 10s, with the best points finish of 2nd twice in 1996 and 1995. Thanks for watching, everyone, and take care.